So I did a shoot yesterday right after I did that video with the strobe part of this, for using these as flash units. And in between YouTube and lots on Instagram and everywhere else. Anyway, I got a lot of emails saying, well, it works fine with Elinchrom. Well, I own a Leica camera, so I was using a Leica remote, and that's what I was testing for because they added Leica and Godox and so forth remotes onto these. And, at this point, the Leica remote is very unreliable. Actually, I want to try this really quick while we're on live here. So, well, not live for you, but live for me. Because it seemed to be okay afterwards, but who knows? It's just too, I'm sure with firmware updates, they may be able to fix this. I'm hoping. But I figured, hey, let's just try this right now and see. I want to be able to take this out of the box and have it work. And yes, I know Elinchrom works. I wasn't testing Elinchrom. And their lights were made for, Elinchrom because the remotes are made specifically for those. So, okay, so it's set to Pro Photo. My Pro Photo's on. It doesn't work. So I'll disable the flash, enable the flash. It doesn't work. So now I'm going to shut the remote off and turn it back on. Maybe it'll find it. Yeah, see, it doesn't work. You have to do so much. It's just way too much playing to make this thing work. So, I mean, after 4 tries, it works. And if you were at a job and you were doing this, it would, the nerves would be shot before you even started. So I hope they can fix this and make it work. Anyway, getting onto this, what I'm actually talking about, the constant lights. So constant light with this, I did the shoot, and battery power actually was pretty decent. Now, I used the Rotolight brand battery on this unit, which is a 95. And then I got the small rig, which I haven't tried yet, but it's a lot smaller, which I think is going to be a lot nicer. It's a little lighter. I like the back display. It shows you your power right on the back display when you turn it on. It shows you 100%. I'm thinking I'm really going to like this battery. It has great reviews. So I'm looking forward to using this and seeing how it is and seeing how the power is. But it's a nice battery. And it was a lot cheaper. I think this was $220 on sale. And I think Rotolights are like $400 or $500. Anyway, so I did a shoot with all this stuff. Staying on track here. I used the Aeos 2 once or twice for an uplight, and I kind of liked it, but it's not like necessary. But if you do the math on this, like this is the Neo3 Pro, so that's $750. These are just the Neo3s, which you can get them for $500 now, I think. So that's $1,700 plus $1,700 for this thing. That's $3,400. That's a lot of money to say sometimes the flash will work, sometimes it won't. So I use them in constant light for the shoot. And I want to tell you, straight out, I love these lights in constant. I'm not proficient at them yet. I'm very proficient with flash. I know how to do it, know where to put the flash. I have gels, I have everything I need for flash, and it works fantastic. And that's really the reason I wanted these, is so I can do this in conjunction with flash when I need it, which I think would be very, very cool. But if I don't have a remote that works correctly with my Profoto gear, yeah, the Godox remote worked fantastic. It worked every time. It did miss. I did have misfires, and especially when you first started on, there's a misfire there, and then every once in a while you get a misfire. And I'm sure, like I said, the Elechrome that was specifically made, in conjunction, works fine, but I'm using Leica, so I need a Leica remote. That being said, the shoot went really well. I was getting ISO values and aperture values that I could live with, like honestly could live with. Again, I can't use this for a clothing shoot when I'm shooting coats. I have a clothing shoot coming up, and I couldn't do it. I have to use the big strobes because I need that depth of field and I need the power. But for headshots and stuff like that, because I do have a lot of clients that like no flash. When I do grip and grins, backstage for some personalities, they will not use flash. You have to use constant. Usually I use a rollout for that LED. But I'm thinking this one light would do pretty good, and I don't have to plug it in. And I'm thinking the battery's going to last, because it did last this whole shoot. I was down to 1 bar, but it lasted. It did the job. Anyway, rather than me rambling on, I'm going to let you take a look at the shoot and see what you think. I set the Kelvin temperature on the lights. I set it in the camera the same. It looks a little warm to me, but not bad. So, like I said, just tweaking and playing and getting to know the lights is my next step. But anyway, here's the first shoot with this setup, and I hope you enjoy. If you have any questions, leave them below. So I decided to black out the studio for this first shoot, just to push these lights a little bit. And I'm doing straightforward shots. I'll throw some color in and stuff like that, but I just want to see, it's a gray background, it's dim, it's, I want to push the lights for my very first shoot. And just minor tweaks here and there is going to change the look drastically because of that smaller light. Like, the Aeos does have a good form factor and has a good surface area, but it's still considered a small light compared to what we're used to with umbrellas or softboxes or whatever you shoot with. So you have to watch your lighting setup and where you place this light, to watch your shadows, because no matter what, they're going to be a little harsher, obviously, than a big softbox or a big umbrella, but you can still get a soft look. And, the diffuser is very, very nice, don't get me wrong, but, it just diffuses light. It's not going to make anything softer. It's just going to diffuse it. It appears to be a little softer, but you still have harsh shadows, depending on where you place the light, the angle of the light's at. And these little angles, you can move a light 6 inches and get a totally different look or a totally different shadow, because of the small form factor. So you have to keep that in mind and play. LED lights are easier because you can see what you're going to get, obviously. But when they're a small form factor like this, it does throw in a little bit more difficulty. And yeah, you probably can throw these in a softbox or an umbrella, but it is going to take the power down so much. I haven't tried it yet, so I'm not going to make prejudgments on it on what the numbers would be. As far as what you have to shoot at, like ISO and shutter speed and aperture and so forth. But, for this first part, I'm shooting probably at f4. I'm at ISO 200 on most of these. And later, I'm going to take it down to 64 ISO and go down to 1.4 just to, play with the system and see what I can do with it. Now, I'm shooting a Leica manual focus, so yeah, I'm not going to get as many hits as most people would with an autofocus camera, but I'm still going to do pretty good because I'm pretty proficient with the manual focus. So if you do have an eye autofocus kind of camera, you're going to do pretty well with these lights, shooting wide open. But for me, I like, stop down. But for the test, I'm going to play with everything. And now, the light is so easy to use, just to go over and just change colors instantly, which I love. But I really wish, for some reason, when I pull up the lights in the app, it seems like you can only connect one at a time. And again, I may be doing something wrong, I don't know. But with like ProPhoto strobes, I can just touch whichever strobe I want and change the power, change everything in the app. And it's not like I have to disconnect from one to connect to the other. For this, every time I push one, like I'll push one of the Neos, and then I go to the next Neo, and it's like, okay, do you want to join? And it seems like I have to join that Wi-Fi group each time and change it over. And it's hit and miss with joining the Wi-Fi group. And again, I have to do a little bit more research. Maybe there's something different or something I'm doing wrong. I don't know. But if there is, I'll let you know by researching this a little bit more. I don't mind walking over, changing the lights, but it would be convenient. Now, as you can see, I'm just doing straight, nothing special. I'll tweak the lights as I go. Now this, I'm throwing that original Aeos in just for a quick fill light, and it's just the minorest of fills. It's just a minor fill on the left side of her face, for, to soften the shadows just a little bit. And you can see a difference here. It's just a slight difference. But now she's in a black dress, and I'm using that gray background, and the fall off is pretty darn quick. So, even if I move in the light a little closer, I'm still going to have the same fall off. It's not going to change very much. And each shot you look at, you go, okay, well, the dress is just fallen away. You can't see that edge. So I'm going to bring in that other light, the other Neo, and drop it down a little bit lower. Now, the other part of this is I could just throw a backlight on, which would give me the separation. But if I wanted that dark background, that was my key, I would have to just highlight this side of her. So what I'm doing is dropping this down so I can highlight the side of the dress and give some kind of separation from the dress in the backdrop. And you'll see in this, it's just the slightest edge of a light, not in the shot obviously, but there's just a slight edge light that will separate the dress from the backdrop. Anyway, these lights are fun to play with. And as much as I love strobe, and I think everybody should learn strobe, if you were dead set against strobe, these are just some photos I threw in here. I didn't shoot this as part of the shoot. I apologize for that video, but I just wanted to show you some photos because I wanted to see that background color, that tan background color, to see if it worked, because I use that a lot. I like the warmth of it, and it works with a lot of people's skin. I just put the lights on orange, and it just worked with the big gray backdrop. It just gave me that nice, soft, warm look. Anyway, getting back to this shoot, the one you could actually see, like I said, I kept everything dark, but then I'm going to throw in that backlight, to bring out the backdrop more, give it more separation. Not that there's anything wrong with this, but you are losing that dress. Now this is a dark blue dress. This is the one I'm going to show you where you can really see the side light that will edge out the dress and give it some kind of separation from the backdrop, which is really important. So most of the time I'm using three lights, the Aeos 2 and the two Neos. And this is the only time I'm throwing that, the third light in. You can get away with three of these. You could probably get away with two of these with a brighter backdrop or, lighter conditions without question. But if you want to have that darker backdrop look, I really do think you need at least three, because I could use one as an edge light and one as a backdrop light and I'd be happy. But, they are expensive. It's so much cheaper for strobe, but I can't say just use strobe because I'm really enjoying using these lights. Anyway, but as far as the strobe part of these are concerned, I'm just not pleased with them at all. It's not there for me yet. And again, I hope they fix them because I want to use them in conjunction with, not alone. But the constant lights, they worked really well. Hope you enjoyed.